What's going on, people? It's Mr. back again. Another interview, another special guest in MATTMILLS. How you doing, Matt?
Hi Ben, yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
I'm all good. Like everyone, missing the football. Are you missing the football?
Yeah, I mean, fortunate enough to get it on the TV, so at least we're staying connected to it.
Yeah, that's good. So I'm going to start, Matt. Like I said, you started with Forest. When did you first know they was interested in you?
That's a good question, actually. I'm trying to think back. Obviously, I'd worked with Dougie Freeman before, so there was a connection there, and obviously, to be honest, I had a great time at Bolton. Although obviously the club have been under real financial trouble, so I didn't really know that I was going to leave. So when I found myself that summer out of contract, it was just a case of speaking to clubs. Obviously, applied my trade in the Championship for a long time, so ringing around a few clubs and obviously making a connection with Dougie, who I'd worked with previously, and then the Forest move materialised, and it was one that I remember getting the call. I was on holiday and I was really excited about it. Started watching a few YouTube videos of back in the day, and it's always been a club that I've enjoyed playing against. City Ground's obviously incredible, so no, it was a good opportunity for me.
I know. I think it was yourself and I think it was Jamie Ward. Come to Forest, and it was under the embargo. Was you not a little bit iffy about what was happening behind the scenes with the embargo before joining Forest?
No, I think from the outside looking in, obviously the owner had a bit of a reputation with three managers and one or two other things, but it's normal in football now, isn't it, that kind of happens. So no, I know Dougie. He's a really steady guy, and I like the way he played. So I was more kind of focused on that than kind of anything that was going on above that, really.
So you joined Forest. Your first training session. Did you know anyone from playing against each other?
Yeah, I know quite a few of the lads. So I think Mikkel I'd played with at Reading. So I've not seen him for a while, but followed his career. Dexter was in the squad, who I'd obviously come through the youth team with at Southampton. Who else was there at that time? A lot of lads I played against, like Lansbury, Danny Fox. I think Hendo came with us pre-season. Yeah, I knew all the lads from playing against them. You know what it's like when you've been on the scene for that long.
So your first training session, what was it like?
Straight away, I knew we had a quality squad. If we could keep everyone fit, I thought we would be kind of there or thereabouts. I think Mikkel ended up getting off just after pre-season, which wasn't ideal for us, but he was obviously in scintillating form, wasn't he, towards the back end of his career at Forest. So it's always going to happen. I think it seemed like a steady project. I think the expectation with being in embargo and one or two other things was like, there wasn't a crazy amount of pressure to kind of get promoted. I definitely felt like I was joining a project of like, we need to stabilise, try and, playoffs would be great, come out of embargo and then look to spend and kick on. So I was pretty clear about what I was walking into.
So you made your debut at the City Ground. I know your first game was Brighton, but at the City Ground, do you remember your debut at the City Ground?
Yeah, it's Rotherham, was it?
Yeah, Rotherham. You scored your first goal. What was it like scoring your first goal?
It's always good. It's always good to contribute to the team when it comes to goals. I think it's quite an important goal as well. It turned out to be quite an important goal in the game. No, I remember it. I remember it really well. Great atmosphere on the day, and like I say, it was just good to kind of get your feet under the table a little bit with the fans as well. Get a win under your belt, get a goal. Always a nice start.
You scored. I think you scored 6 goals for Forest. Which one was your best one?
6 goals till Christmas. I think I scored that season.
6 goals.
Yeah, I don't know. You have to look through the archives. I'm not sure.
I've already seen it. I've already seen the archives.
I remember saying to Brit in the showers around Christmas time, I'm the top goal scorer, mate. Like, you need to get back fit. Because obviously he'd been out of his knee. So no, it's all, like I say, it's always good to contribute. I think probably technically the best goal was the one against the Middlesbrough, the volley.
Yeah, that was a good goal.
We'd worked on that quite a bit in training, and if you actually look at the movement and Eric's blocking the guy at the front post, somebody comes back and checks, blocks my man, and gives me the space to kind of go into and to be fair, H put it on the money, Lansbury put it on the money, and it's a good connection. It was a nice moment. I think it was on Sky as well, so I got quite a lot of messages after the game from friends around the country.
You had some times that you was named as Nottingham Forest captain. What was it like being as captain of Nottingham Forest?
Massive. I mean, something that can never be taken away from me. It's a nice story to tell the kids, I'm sure, as they grow up. And no, I've been fortunate to captain a few clubs that I've been at, and it's something that I really relish, the extra kind of responsibility. There is a lot of bad things that come with it as well, but I mean, I was happy to take that on, and really fortunate to wear the armband. You said
you had a good relationship with Doug Freeman. I think you got, what game was it? I don't know what game it was. Sat now. As you know, there's things happening behind the scenes, but it comes like with results on the pitch. It means managers are always going to be under pressure. Did you feel like Doug Freeman was treated bad? Well,
like I say, for me, I was joining a project where it was, first season we're in embargo, let's make sure we stay in the league first and foremost, and then we can, over the course of 12 months, I can, as a manager, he's probably thinking I can work out who I want to be here and who I need to go and what areas I need to recruit to strengthen, and year 2 would be promising, and look to challenge for promotion, and I just felt like the plan was kind of being executed. I think we were on 49, 50 points when Dougie got sacked, which is pretty well. We were safe with the amount of games that were being left to play, and then to sack him, it was just like, right, okay, is there a bigger plan that we all don't know about? And then the way things played out in terms of Paul Williams taking over to the end of the season, then not getting anyone in place over the summer, and it seemed a bit of it feels like we rushed it through with Philippe, and then it was just like season 2 was just a shambles because we didn't really get rid of the players that we needed to. We didn't really recruit very well, and all of a sudden it just turned into a mess pretty quick. And that was frustrating because I felt like there was a real kind of plan in the Dougie.
You mentioned Philippe, and he got appointed as Forest manager. I think it was the 1st of July. How did you feel when, I think it was our first foreign manager at the club? How did you feel about that appointment?
It was just really bizarre because there was like names being bandied about, and then I think he was appointed the morning of the first day of pre-season.
Yeah, he was.
And it was like who's this guy type of thing. He struggled. I just thought he struggled. I don't think he got English football. It was just a strange direction. Like I say, we had players that needed to be moved on, in my opinion, that didn't get moved on. We didn't recruit very well, and it was just, it was really, really difficult.
As you know, that there was always things going off the pitch. I know players will say, we've got to focus what's happening on the pitch. Wasn't you or the other players affected on what was happening behind the scenes, like Fawaz situation?
I think as a player, you try and control the controllables. You try and focus on your own performance, the way in which you train, the way in which you conduct yourself, all these types of things. But the reality of course it affects everything. There's you don't feel like you've got that stability, that vision of this is where we're going. Like I say, the players that were coming into the building, you could quickly see they weren't going to be good enough to challenge a title winning season. And I think the thing with recruitment is, unless you're going to bring in players that are better than what you've got, then there's probably no point. And I just didn't think we did that through that period, and it was a lot of mismanagement. It was, like I say, it was a tough period because there were players that consistently played throughout that time. But I think if you look on paper, we must have used like 30 or 40 players.
It was a lot. It was a lot. Like I said, that season, like I said, I was with Montanier, players like, I think, was it Oliver Burke? Was you there when Oliver Burke was there? I think what came.
Yeah. So Twisty came onto the scene and done really well. I think the way, Dougie brought him into the team, and the way in which we played utilised his strengths, obviously his pace. We were kind of in like a mid to low block and really strong. I think we had one of the best defensive records in the Championship that year. And then we just had players like Ryan Mendes, Twisty, Nelson, Jamie.
Yeah,
you should a lot of pace. So we just played to our strengths. So yeah, no, Twisty's a good lad. Still speak to him. Wish him well, and I will always watch kind of the younger players' careers. That's obviously they're at the start of their journey. Obviously, Kashi came into the team, and I was a Villa now. So then Berriton, there was quite a few young boys that were coming onto the scene, which was a good mix. But we just we didn't recruit well in the Philippe era for me.
Before I want to start with finish with Dougie Freeman. Like I said, you played in some East Midlands derbies. The game that you beat Derby 1-0 when Nelson scored. What was it like, the build-up to that game?
Yeah, it's probably my favourite game for Forest, to be fair. I think, I think it probably was. Incredible atmosphere, unbelievable derby, to be fair. It was a really good night. Scored quite early on in the game, and then our game plan was so good that night. Like the way in which Derby at the time were kind of like rotating. We just had a real solid game plan, really good communication. I really enjoyed that team. It was a shame that we couldn't kind of carry that into, like I say, the second season. But no, we had some good players. We had a really good way of playing. I remember we went on a run, I think, for about 13, 14 games where we were unbeaten and we weren't conceding many goals. Doris was playing well in goal. We had a settled back four. I really enjoyed that time. One of my favourite times at Forest.
Before there's the one game I think it was at Pride Park, and I think we lost 1-0. And I remember this really good. I think it was the last minute. It was desperate to get an equaliser. And I remember yourself, you got really frustrated at the end with a Derby player, and I think there was a bit of a rumble. Do you can you remember that time?
Yeah, Richard Keogh, the centre half. I just the ball came in. I just challenged the keeper. I thought fairly. I was just watching the ball, but flattened the keeper, and then he's tried to like come for me, and I've gone to like push him off. But as I pushed him off, he's like fallen away to make it look really dramatic and look 10 times worse than what it was. And then obviously kind of kicked off from there. But yeah, it was much of a muchness, to be fair. And it would have been criminal to be sent off. So I'm glad the referee kind of sort of said.
I think when I was at the game at Forest fans, everyone kept saying, "Mills, go for it, go on, Mills!" Because as everyone knew he had a really bad relationship with Forest, and it was just funny. Like everyone kept saying, "Mills, go for him," and I think it was funny. But I know we lost, but it was. I think that was the best bit. Because everyone just thought, "Oh, Mills should have gone for him." But yeah, that was
stuck him on his ass. No.
Like I said, with Philippe Montanier, I felt both of them. Like I said, things happening behind the scenes. I think it was Birmingham. I think it was Birmingham away, and he got sacked. How did you feel when he left?
Relieved. Yeah. Pre-season was poor. I think I've mentioned this in an interview previously. His pre-season just wasn't good enough. Didn't work hard enough. Didn't really know what the league was going to be about. Recruited poorly. Never really felt like we had a game plan. Felt like it was really difficult to play in his team because I never knew what was going to happen. Didn't know what anybody was going to do. We had good players, so we kind of would get a result here and there, but it was a bit of a flip of a coin of what was going to happen. So no, to be honest, I was quite glad to see him leave and try and get a new manager in, so we could get back to learning new things, putting some structure in place. Because obviously, as a centre back, I really enjoy structure. Everybody's got a job to do without the ball, for sure. But we've got talent with the ball, and we can talk about the patterns of play and rotations and how we can get people free and all these types of things. But if you can't do the fundamentals of defending, then it's always a difficult game. So no, it was nice to see the change come in, because I think we could have possibly gone down if he'd have stayed in charge.
I mentioned to Xbox Forest. Did you play under Gary Brazil?
Yeah, Gaz took over for a bit, but I played the first game, I think, or I got injured before. But Gaz came in for a little bit, but he done really well when he came in, because he knew what the championship was about, so he just kind of got back to basics a little bit. I think we played 4-4-2. we were just putting pressure on the ball in the right areas, and he just made things black and white. And I think, you know, a lot of the lads kind of appreciated that at the time, after kind of going through what we went through with Philippe and not really understanding what the hell was going on.
I want to mention that, like with Forest, quite a lot of Forest fans have mentioned it. You know, there was protesters with what's happening in the club. As a Forest player, do you think it was like, what was your opinion regarding Fawaz?
I mean, you look how much money he's invested into the football club. You can't say he held back. You know, he threw a lot of money into Forest. I think the only thing that I would say is, you know, a little bit naively, maybe he should have had somebody as like a director of football who had been in the Championship for a long time and was kind of helping him spend that money wisely. I think that would be my only criticism. Fawaz, I thought he was a good guy. He meant really well. It's a couple of times I met him where we, you know, if things weren't going well, you could see the pain and the stress that it caused him. He really, really wanted for it to succeed. I think his intentions were genuine. I just think it would have been probably a little bit easier for him if he'd have had somebody in that type of role. And also, there's so much pressure from the Forest fans to go like up every year. So
100%.
Yeah, I don't think he kind of coped with that overly well. Instead of just kind of getting a plan in place, like I said, what I signed up to, I think that plan could have worked. And just seeing it through, I think he was a bit quick to pull the trigger on obviously Dougie.
Like Montanier got sacked, Brazil got hired, but Anton Crockett came in, and
Warburton.
Warburton come in. How did you feel when Warburton came in as manager?
It was good. Yeah, he was good, to be fair. He had a lot of good ideas, especially on the ball. Defensively, I saw things a little bit different to him, which made us butt heads a little bit. But certainly on the ball, I liked a lot of his ideas. I thought he was good. He really pushed a youth, which didn't play into my hands. Obviously, Joe Worrell came onto the scene, and he heavily invested in Joe at that time. So again, probably butted heads a little bit over that at the time. But I thought he was good. I think, again, in the long run, he could have been okay for Forest, but new change of owners. And
yeah, I'd about to mention about the change of ownership. Yes, Fawaz left, Mike Crockett's come in. As player, what was your feelings about
that? It's always good when you get an investment, because you know there's going to be money to be kind of invested into the club, but in what way was that going to be invested? And as we've seen, not wisely, erratically, a lot of pressure put on managers and players by, you know, people being at the training ground and kind of hawkeyeing everyone instead of just kind of letting football run football, and the money guys just sort out the finances and invest. So as it's kind of played out, is it much better? Probably not. But I think Fawaz had just got to a point where the fans had kind of wanted him to go so badly, he couldn't really stay.
Like I said, under Warburton, like I said, I don't know if did you start, or was you more like?
Yeah, I played a lot under him. I played a lot under him and was captain for a while, and it's okay. I just think we clashed a little bit on certain things, and yeah. And then I found myself a little bit on the bench, which I've never been in my career before. And then when the change of owners come in, I think they just looked at it like they hadn't looked prior to what had gone on. It's just like, right, you're on the bench, you can leave. There was no real conversation to be had. It was just like, we want new players, so you can go. That's pretty much it.
I want to mention about that. Like I said, I think quite a lot of Forest fans mentioned it, like the way you got treated. At the end, what was your thoughts regarding the way you was treated at Forest at the end?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not the Forest fans' fault, but yeah, it was disgusting. But I suppose that's football, so took it a pinch of salt. If I'm honest, I wish I would have just dug my heels in and just said I'm not leaving, and just stayed around to the end of that season, because strategically I could have sorted out a couple of issues that I had with my body, and got fit and left that summer and gone and signed somewhere in the Championship and had another year or two Championship football. But the type of person I am, I just thought, well, if I'm not wanted, then I'll get off and start playing football again, because I've always played. Unfortunately for me, I got injured when I left in the third game, and then found myself, out of contract, 32. All of a sudden, you're in a position you're thinking, oh my God, I was Forest captain 6 months ago now.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I said, you was captain, and the way you got treated, I thought I'm a big boss, and I don't criticise anyone. If you wear the badge, you do what you do. But the way you got treated, I think it was just. You mentioned about who was the guy that told you had to leave the club?
I think his name's Yanis or something.
Yeah, Yanis. I don't know if you. I
don't know. Like I said, they'd not been in long, but I just remember coming out of the changing room because I was on the bench and they got beat like 3-0 against Preston or something like that, and they were terrible.
Yeah, that's my worst game ever. That was my worst game.
Forest were bad. And I was in the dressing room after the game. I'd not even played. I just got dressed and I was walking to go to my car, thinking, in my head, probably thinking I might be in next game because that was so bad.
Yeah.
And he just pulled me in the corridor. He just said, Mills, the transfer window was closing the next day. He was like, Mills, like you are, I don't know if I can swear on this. Like,
do it. I'll beep it.
Yeah, he was just like, Mills, come here. You are crap. Go. Like,
really?
Yeah, and I was just like, okay, I don't know who you are, but right, fine. And then, like, spoke to my agent, said, listen, this place is toxic. I don't want to be around these types of people. I said, like, just make a phone call, do what you got to do, get me out of here, because the club that I love and the club that I've been involved in for 2.5 years, I said, is dead. Like, it's gone.
I think, as you mentioned Yanis, and you're not the only player that's been treated really bad towards him. I don't know if you've read for Athletic. There's been stories regarding players that have been treated really bad, and I think the way Forest is the club's happening right now. I don't know if you've been watching Forest. What's your opinion on the situation at the moment?
I think last year they overachieved. I think they've done really, really well. Surprised me, if I'm honest. But I think this year hasn't surprised me. It's kind of what I was expecting was going to happen, because I think just the way in which the people behind the scenes work, it's just the good people won't last there. They'll just get tired of it. I can already see it on some of the players' faces, the manager's face. Like, you can see in some of the performances. I can imagine that they'll have people just randomly turn up at the training ground, and it just creates like pressure and tension that doesn't really need to be there. It doesn't seem like they're very driven for success, and they've hugely financially backed the club. So of course there's going to be pressure, but I don't like the way they've gone about it. It's not for me.
I've got some questions from Forest fans, Danny. There's some funny ones as well. What was you a good trainer for? Like, not for just Forest, any club. Was you like a good trainer or lazy trainer?
Early in my career, up to about 23, I was a lazy trainer. Yeah. And from 23 for the rest of my career, I was a good trainer. I think you start to appreciate being a footballer a little bit more as you get older. I think when you're younger, you've got like an arrogance and like, I'm the man and this blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden you start appreciating the everything about the game, from the way you eat to the way you train to everything. So I think I kind of converted myself into that way of thinking and tried to use that influence on younger players to do the right things, not go out drinking, recover right, eat right. This is, you're so fortunate to be a footballer. So I kind of swung from one end of the spectrum to the other on that one.
As a centre back, who was your best partnership you ever played with?
Forest or ever?
Anyone, Forest or anyone.
I enjoyed playing with Mansion and Hobbs at Forest. Hobbsy wasn't fit a lot. We didn't really play many games together. I think we could have done well, but I enjoyed playing with both of those. There's a guy called Zurab Kishnishvili, who was at Blackburn and Rangers.
Yes, I know who he is.
I played with at Reading. Very cool, calm, collected. I was obviously very aggressive and go and challenge the ball, and he would
You was a dirty player. I'm going to mention about the red cards later, but you was a dirty player.
He was a little bit more reserved and relaxed, so I think we complemented each other quite well. Sol Bamble was good at Leicester. Sometimes the game was almost a little bit too easy for Sol, so we'd go and do like something a little bit silly, but I think he's kind of cut that out as he got older. I think Neil Warnock probably stuffed that out.
I've mentioned this all 5 players. As you know, when you joined the club, did you used to do a song for the players?
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah.
What was your song?
In Sweden, I did a mixture. But I did Juicy.
Juicy, never heard of it.
Yeah, by Biggie Smalls.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Was you a good singer?
No, it's just a rap. It's not really about your voice, is it? On that one, you can wing it on that. Yeah, in Sweden. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Another one, like I said, you mentioned that you always got you got a red card against Newcastle and one against was it Hull? I think you got sent off against Hull.
I remember the Newcastle one because the ball. It wasn't even involved. I got booked, and then there's something like literally 2 or 3 seconds later, like the ball. Dwight Gale went in for a challenge with someone. The ball popped up into my hands. I caught it, and I was talking to the ref. I just pushed it into his stomach, and he like collapsed and like went down, and I got a second yellow. It was pathetic. Rubbish red card. The one against Hull was meant to be for an elbow in the back of the head, and then all the pictures come out, and I'm jumping like that with my chest, and it was again another rubbish red card.
No, it was funny because I was in local fans right in front of you, and Forest fans go mad at the referee, like you didn't even do anything. But
I think my name preceded me on that
one. What more, Danny? Like I said, like Forest career, what was your best memories at the City Ground?
I think the song before the game is just incredible. The Mull of King Tara, when the crowd are singing it. Certainly before that Derby game, I remember. I think, the passion of the Forest fans for the club, I think, will always stay with me. I really enjoyed that first year, especially. It was a shame we couldn't just go on that journey together. But no, I really enjoyed my time at Forest, and I feel, I've got to stick at times, of course. Of course I did. The club
everyone does.
Well, one, everyone does, and two, I don't think the club was in, great. It wasn't in great stability. But I think all in all, I had a good relationship with the fans. I really enjoyed it.
Are you still playing football, or are you retired?
No, retired. Retired kind of when COVID hit. So had a back operation 3 weeks ago, which I've been needed for about 5 years, if I'm honest.
Okay.
But I've been having like epidurals and spinal injections to because my legs would go numb. So I was having nerve blocks to try and carry on playing.
Okay.
But the reality was it started to affect me in other ways, and like I say, retired now, had the backup. So no plans to rehab it and come out of retirement. Last but not least, man, do you miss playing football? No.
You don't miss it?
No.
Why not? I thought I said to every Forest player, do you miss it? Then you're the only one. You have not. You don't miss it. How come?
I don't know. There's the politics of football I don't enjoy. It's hard. It's bloody hard. And I'm the type of person that was obviously wholehearted, fully committed, sacrificed my whole life to work and to play, and it's not overly healthy. So I definitely got more of a work-life balance now. 2 young kids, not waking up in pain every day, not getting the negativity off fans or press. Yeah. It's more relaxed and more happy.
Who's the best manager that you've ever played with?
I say 3. Dougie, Brian McDermott at Reading.
Yeah, good manager.
And a guy called Sean O'Driscoll, who was at Bournemouth and Doncaster. Very, very
Oh,
good.
the one was at Forest.
Yeah, you can to Forest as well.
Yeah,
fantastic manager. Fantastic manager. I think Forest sacked him when they beat Leeds 4-2, and I was like, they were just starting to play. He's a great manager. He was a great manager.
I said that was. I felt sorry for him too, but I think every Forest fan felt sorry for him at that time. But yeah, Matt, you know what? I do really appreciate that you coming on my channel, and but like I said, with the COVID, like I said, have you been watching any games? Have you been to any games?
No, not been to any games. Been watching a few. Been doing some stuff with Sky Sports, doing some punditry stuff. So watched the Nottingham Forest game. I think was the last game I did.
Oh, don't mention that game.
I'm back down there on the 9th to do a couple of League One fixtures. So still kind of stay interested in the game, but don't obsess over it like I used to.
But like I said, Matt, you know what? Thank you very much for coming on my podcast. I hope you and your family have a great Christmas and a New Year. But like I said, if no one knows, this is Matt Mills, ex-Nottingham Forest. Matthew, thank you very much for coming on the channel. I really do appreciate it coming on my wife's Christmas as well. But like I said, people, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe, like it as well. And like I said, Matthew, thank you very much for coming on my channel.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for your time. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, Sam. Matt. Thank you very much.